Hello. Um, in preparation towards taking your certificates, your AWS certification exam, right? So I thought again to make this video to actually show us how to use the elimination method, right? It's a very straightforward kind of thing. But then the caveat is, please make sure you have understanding and a good grasp on AWS services, right? Once you have that, elimination method is a good way to actually scale through AWS questions trick, right? So it's going to be a very short video. Yes, we'll take one or two questions, and the same principle applies to. And even if you are taking 100 questions, the same thing applies when it comes to elimination method. So let's go into it. Question one. Let's take this first question. You have planned to host a web application. So let me mix this up with actually spotting the keywords. You have planned to host a web application on AWS. You create an AWS instance in a public subnet, right, that needs to connect to an EC2 instance that will host an Oracle database. Now, the keyword here is this. Your EC2 instance is first in a public subnet. Your Oracle database, right, needs to be connected, and it's also deployed in an EC2 instance. So we have the Oracle database connected in an deployed in an EC2 instance that needs to connect with another EC2 instance in a public subnet. They didn't tell us where or the public subnet that the Oracle database EC2 instance was deployed. So the question is, which steps would ensure a secure setup? So we are talking about security now for our application or our infrastructure, right? So off the top of my head, let's say I don't even know what this is, right? How can I use elimination method to my advantage? First thing first, let me say I have an idea that, okay, EC2 instance and an Oracle database. A database to be secure, a database to be secure has to be hosted in a private environment, right? In this case, a private subnet, right? So let's go into our options and let me see how I can actually adopt elimination method. Option A say place the EC2 instance with the Oracle database in the same public subnet as the web server for faster communication. Okay, I will leave that. Place the EC2 instance that will host the Oracle database in a private subnet. I will leave that. Create a database security group which allows incoming traffic only from the web securities servers group, right? And then this says ensure that database security allows incoming traffic from 0.0.0.0. Now, elimination method is going to tell me to do this, assuming I don't even have a good grasp of what the answer is supposed to be, but I have a fair knowledge of what is going on. Now, 0.0.0 means that I'm opening my security group to allow public traffic from anywhere, right? And here, if I allow public traffic, that means that I'm not actually considering security for my architecture. So I can rule D out because I wouldn't want to allow public traffic, right? Now, C says create a database security group which allows incoming traffic from web server security group, which looks very much like something that would make sense because now I know my security group has been narrowed to allow traffic from just one source, which is just the security web server security group. Yes. So let me change my color here. Let me put this in blue because it's more like what I would do. And I'm supposed to select two answers, right? Now, option B says place the EC2 instance with that we host the Oracle database in private subnets. This looks very much like it also, right? Because I'm talking about private subnets here, private subnet. So for the sake of that private subnet, I'll very much likely go with my option B here. Now, what about option A? Option A says place the EC2 instance with the Oracle database in the same public subnet as the web server for faster communication. Sort of somehow, I know the public subnet here, right, actually would actually play down on this particular option, right? It nullifies that option because I don't want to put it in the public subnet, right? So what are my very most likely option that I'm going to do, right, is to eliminate one, is to eliminate option A, Sorry, that's a mistake. Need to reduce this. Okay, and then change my color. So I need to eliminate option A first because it doesn't look like, and then option C. So I'm left with option B and C as my most likely answer, right? Because of my elimination of A and B and D, right? So let's unveil our answer and see if our probability works, right? And again, this has to come with a whole lot of practice because in the examination, you have roughly 2 minutes per question, right? Yeah, so you want to practice this as much as possible. So let's show our answer. And yes, our answer is actually B and C. Yeah. Okay. So that's actually how to actually adopt the elimination method when you are answering AWS questions. Let's see if we can take one more. Let me clear this screen. Okay. So, okay, so here is another one. It's a short one though, but let's read through and try to use our elimination method, even if we don't have an idea of all of the services that's been there. So the question says, your company needs to develop an applications that need to have a login module in place. So the application needs to have the login module. Their key requirement is to ensure that users can also use their current identities. So this is the keyword there, with proven providers such as Facebook to log into the application. Which of the following can help you accomplish this? So let's use our elimination method now, assuming that we have no idea of what service we want to use, but we have faint idea of some other services, right? So let's use that to eliminate and get the option. So option A says using AWS Cognito service. So let's assume I don't know what Cognito service is, right? Because Cognito service looks like you are hiding a service that can actually help you hide your identity, sort of, in a layman term. And then using AWS config service. I know of AWS config service to actually be sort of, how can I put it now? Orchestration, monitoring kind of service or login, right? For config services, sort of monitoring your account activities. I know SQS can't be used for identity provider or for login or anything because it's actually a messaging broker application, right? So it's a SQS queuing service for message. So I know this is very much likely not it. Web application firewall, AWS WAF services. So I know WAF, web application firewall, is a security service because from what I know, it's actually used for blocking unauthorized access, not for logging in, right? Using your IP. So I can rule this one out. Now I have 2 options here, config and Cognito. Now I know config is nothing close to login, right? So I can take that liberty or that risk of also taking out Cognito config. Now I'm left with Cognito service. So even if I have no idea of what Cognito service, I have a faint idea of all I know. So I used what I know to get the result of what I want. More like using negative to get a positive, right? In terms of photography, right? So with that, I'm settling for A, right? So let me just check this and say, this is the most likely thing I'm checking. Right? And then let's show our answer and see if that works. Yeah. Yes. So, and that's actually our answer. AWS Cognito service. And looking down here, you will see the reason why we have AWS Cognito, and it provides authentication, authorization, and user management for your web and mobile apps. So right on, spot on, that's what we wanted, and that's what we got. And for questions like this in your examination, don't spend too much time. Once you eliminate and you choose your answer, right, you can flag it for review. Once you flag it for review, go to your next question, go all over all of the other questions, and come back to questions like this, any question that you flagged, right? So I hope this actually also will help. Play this video over and over again until it sinks into you, until you are fast with adopting this technique or implementing it as much as you want. That's why this video is not very long, so that you can go over and over it again, right? So yes to your success. See you on the other side of success. Bye.